Hello, we are now joined by former UFC lightweight and also BAMMA lightweight Andre Winner. How's things with you, Andre?
Fine. Just sitting back on a Friday evening, just watching a little bit of TV.
So I just wanted to have a quick chat with you. I was going to talk to you a little bit about some of your career highs and then go into what you've got coming up next. I also know you've been in Coventry as well, and me being from Coventry, I was going to talk to you a little bit about that as well. So, what obviously before I start asking questions on what jumps out to me, what have been some of your personal highs? What are your personal highlights so far in your career?
My personal highlights of my career, obviously the Ultimate Fighter was a nice highlight. Being successful with that, obviously, being with the UFC was also a nice highlight. I don't know. I mean, every fight that I've ever been in as well is a highlight to me. You know what I mean? Because every fight to me is my most important fight. So, you know what I mean? I cherish everyone.
Yeah, I mean, and even before you went on to the Ultimate Fight, you had a really big reputation on the UK scene, and you'd had a lot of wins on the UK scene as well. What was pre-UFC? What was some of your favourite moments or favourite fights, or like with the fighters you fought, the bigger fighters that you faced pre-UFC?
Before UFC, what was my favourite ones? I don't know. Obviously, my first fight was probably my most memorable. My first semi-pro fight that was, and which was my first fight. I fought a guy called Gareth Dummer in Wales at the House of Pain show, and came out to fight me in a blue gi. I took care of business in like 14 seconds, so I was happy with that. You know what I mean? I was really chuffed with that. I mean, there were some good guys I fought along the way, but I mean, like I said, they're all pretty memorable. I don't really hold one above the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every fight was important.
I noticed looking over your resume as well and going on your record, your first fight was in 2004, and then there was quite a gap up to 2006. Why out of interest, why was there such a long gap between your first and second fight?
I fought in December against Gareth Dummer, and I fought a guy called Chris Artist on Paul Daly's show in Nottingham in February of 05, like early February of 05, and in the fight, like first 20 seconds, I ripped the ligaments in my knee.
Ooh.
So that was the main reason why I had such a long layoff, because it was a pretty bad injury, and I didn't really get the right physio or anything like that, so I just let it heal by itself. I spent most of my summer away working and stuff like that, so it wasn't until near the end of the year that I started kind of getting back into the gym, and you know what I mean, I had a tough year anyway that year, you know what I mean, just with life in itself, and you know what I mean, like 2006 came along, I got myself, you know what I mean, really focused on my training. I was working at the time, and then I kind of thought to myself, well, you know what, I'm just going to turn pro, I'm just going to go for it, make a go of it. So I didn't work anymore. I just concentrated as a full-time fighter, and in the summer of 2006 I got my first fight, and rest is history.
How hard of a decision was that to make? 'Cause it's such a big gamble to make, to take. How long did you have to play that decision over in your mind to make the move from doing it part-time to full-time? Because it's obviously such a big move.
To be honest, it wasn't that big a thing to me, because the job I had was only security work. It wasn't like a big career of mine. So you know, I mean, that job was just to give me a little bit of money and whatever. So it wasn't like a major thing where I was leaving my main job where I'd been wanting to do all my life or anything. You know what I mean? Fighting is what I wanted to do, and so obviously I followed that path instead. Nice. It wasn't that big of a choice for me. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know what I mean, 2000 years a tough time personally as well, just with life, and you know what I mean, there's a few things with that which helped me make my mind up to pursue my fighting.
And also, the other thing I wanted to ask you as well, obviously, you're obviously a well-rounded fighter, but one of your strongest points has always been your striking. What was your background before you started training in mixed martial arts? What martial art, or if any, had you done pre-MMA?
I was just a person who loved sport. I was just like kind of like always into whether it was either football, athletics, or anything like that. And everyone kind of knew me at school and around for having a reputation of not being a fighter, but just a guy that I don't know. I was just a very competitive person, and it wasn't that I'm like the hardest guy. It's just that I wouldn't allow myself to get bullied. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I'm not bothered. I'll get stuck in a fight. So, that's why people knew me, and I got into a few scraps because of that. Most of my martial arts training was self-taught. Myself and my brothers, we used to watch a lot of martial arts movies, and we bought our own pads and stuff like that, and we just kind of trained ourselves. It wasn't until I was 16, 15 straight 16, that I started Kyokushin karate, and I did that for a few years, and I enjoyed it. Obviously, I like the boxing. I used to watch a lot of boxing on TV, and I had a friend who boxed at the same time that I was doing karate. He'd help me out with a couple of things, and you know what I mean. So I just like did a lot of boxing pads. So people automatically thought that I went to a boxing club or something like that, but I didn't. And that was basically it, really. I was just more than anything self-taught. I just used to love to train. And it wasn't until I was 23, then I'm 24, that I found out about Leicester Street Fighters in Leicester. I went down there, and that was my real first of MMA training, like grappling, on the grappling side of things. You know what I mean? Like I said, I did karate, so I could kick a bit, I could punch a bit and stuff like that. But as far as like wrestling and jiu-jitsu and that, it wasn't until I was like 24 that I got into that. So I did that for about 8 months, and then I had my first fight.
It's mad, actually. Having watched quite a few of your fights, to not think that you come from a more predominant striking background, because your striking has always been so effective and has definitely been the strongest side to your game. I just always assumed that you'd had, because obviously a lot of people do come from one background before they get into MMA, and I just assumed that you'd come from a strike background. So that was really interesting to know. When you said you started the grappling and the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, having done the bit of striking you've done with the karate and obviously with your boxing with your friend, was you surprised at all at how effective the grappling was?
Yeah, I mean, I had seen the UFC when I was a lot younger. You know, I mean, I remember watching Vito Belfort when he was like 19 years old in the UFC. You know, when he fought Randy and that kind of time period and everything. And I kind of knew about the grappling side of things a little bit. You know what I mean? But I never knew how or where to get into it. It wasn't until I went to Leicester Street Fighters, and I hooked up with Paul Daly and Dan Hardy there. And they was like, we fight and everything, and I thought, these guys are the same age as me. And they're out there doing it. I just didn't know how to get into it. And they helped me out a lot. They said, look, come over to Nottingham and come train with us. And, obviously, I trained with them ever since.
Well, that was certainly... talk about two good people to get in with. I mean, obviously they wouldn't have been as well established then, of course, as what they are now. But I mean, they're probably two of the biggest names to come out of the UK, aren't they? Dan Hardy and Paul Daly. So it's a great two.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, obviously you got besides those two, you got obviously Bisping. But I mean, besides Paul and Dan, you know what I mean, Bisping. You got a lot of other good UK fighters now. That have got good reputable names, but obviously Dan and Paul are massive names. Yeah,
I mean the UK scene's obviously grown a hell of a lot, and we'll talk a little bit about the UK scene in a bit, because obviously from when you first started to the UK scene now, I think it's fair to say it's obviously getting stronger. I was going to move forward to obviously Ultimate Fighter Season 9, which was obviously the season you were on. You obviously, like you said, you had a very successful season. Talk a little bit at first how it came about. How did it come about that you decided to apply for the Ultimate Fighter, and what was the process like of applying?
Originally I applied for season 8 because that was the lightweight season. But I'll be honest with you, people said, I didn't make it for I didn't make it for that season or whatever. But it wasn't. Well, I guess that's the case, but it wasn't really the case because it was like some people had said to me, Andre, why didn't you try out for it? So I made this really can I say that?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I was allowed to swear or not.
No, that's fine. Whatever you want to say.
I made this crap video, you know, with a 5 minutes long of just like a couple bits of my fights and me sitting in my bedroom talking, and so I didn't really expect that to go anywhere anyway, so that's what I sent off. Obviously I didn't get a reply from it really. And then again, 2009, I only had, no, 2008, sorry, I only had 2 fights. One was a draw, one was a loss, and it was a bit of a slow year for me, and fighting wasn't paying enough for me, so it was kind of getting to the stage of do I continue doing this or not? And again, it's funny, like I had a little bit of personal problems in my life at the time in that year, and one of my friends had said to me, "Oh, look, they're going to go down to do the trials, and you should come." And I was like, "Well, I'm not sure." And they said, "No, it's a welterweights and middleweights." And then I thought to myself, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. You know, I thought, you know, if anything, I'll just go for the welterweight. I'll just put on a bit of weight and just go for the welterweight, just have a go with it. So, funnily enough, I was out drinking the night before. I turned up in the morning, didn't really have a lot of sleep. Myself and Jim Waller went down there, and you know, I just tried out. The first part was we had a quick go on the grappling, and like Dana was saying, look, I'm not bothered whether you submit anyone or get submitted yourselves. I just want to see you just go out there, have a go, and just want to see the kind of skills that you got. And obviously everyone's a little bit nervous, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I come up against anybody good. And then the guy I came up against was wearing tie shorts, and I thought to myself, yes, he's obviously just a striker, didn't know much about grappling. So the first thing I did was pull guard and spot a triangle, and I submitted him pretty quick, and that kind of got me through to the next round, which was a striking round. They liked what they saw on that, and then we went to the interview process, and then I got through that, and then I got a phone call saying that could you come out to Las Vegas to do the medical and the trials and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, yeah, man. Obviously went out there and did a few more interviews, and they picked me for the show.
Was there a lot of waiting around between the callbacks, and I don't necessarily mean waiting around at the arena, but waiting weeks and then for them to come back and say, yeah, you're through to the next stage?
It was a good few weeks before you heard back anything like that. Everyone heard back at the same time. There wasn't like anyone who got, as far as I know, anyone who got any kind of special treatment, like, oh, we really want you or anything like that. To be honest with you, it was kind of strange because everyone that was there thought that my teammate Jim Warlad, we all kind of suspected that Jim would be the favourite to get through. You know what I mean? There was a lot of talk saying that, yeah, Jimmy's definitely, you know, because Jimmy's like, he's an amazing fighter, there's a good look about him and everything, and I just automatically thought that Jimmy was in there, and then funnily enough, Jimmy he didn't make it. They didn't pick him. I don't know why they didn't pick him, but they didn't pick him. People said, oh, it was because he was too experienced and stuff like that, which may be true, because I remember when we were Vegas, I saw Tyron Woodley there as well, and he auditioned for the same season, so I don't know if that was the same case with him, but you know, I mean, I'm thankful I got through.
Yeah, and there was quite some. I mean, on the Team UK, because obviously you had to fight to get into the house as they work it, and there was quite a few. There's at least 2 quite well-known names on the UK scene that fought and didn't make it into the house. Obviously, one was Che Mills, and of course Alex Reed as well fought and didn't get into the house. And a lot of people wouldn't know that, but obviously Alex Reed's kind of blown up since then. But so I mean, it was quite tough to get through the first stage and into the house, really, wasn't it?
I mean, that was down to the fights. You know, I mean, they lost their fights, so that's why they didn't make it into the house. But you know, I mean, yeah, it was a tough process. You got to remember though, it's a TV show at the same time, so as well as you know, I mean, your fighting capabilities. David Dre's getting a bit upset. I think he's going to bed now. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, as well as the fighting capabilities. You know, I mean, obviously the the TV side of it was important. So obviously the producers and I were obviously looking for a certain kind of criteria that they wanted out of the guys in the show. So, I mean, obviously we don't know what they were looking for, but obviously they're looking for certain things when they pick certain people.
And what was it like being in the house for, I think it's 6 weeks? Because again, I've spoken to some people that said it was a good experience, some people said it was a bad experience. What, did you find it a good or a bad experience being in the house?
It was a great experience. I loved it. We was in the house for 6 weeks, but all in all, I think it was 8 weeks that we were locked up for, because we did our fight to get into the house like 10 days earlier than the US guys did, because they still had to pick the coach between Hendo and Franklin. So we did ours first, and when we had won our fight, it was kind of a strange experience, because it was you'd been staying in your hotel room, you had your fight, and then you just went straight back to your hotel room. And normally when you have a fight, you go out and party, or you go back home, and you know, everyone say, "Oh, well done on the fight," or whatever. You know, you tell somebody about it, you ring somebody, but you couldn't say anything.
That's mad, isn't
so it was weird. It was like, you know, you got all your adrenaline going, just knock somebody out, and then you go back and sit in your hotel room by yourself and watch some TV. And it was a bit of a strange feeling. It's like, I want to ring somebody and tell them I've done it. I'm in the show, but you know, he's not like that. He just has to sit there. So
that's mad. That is. It's such a high to get a win and then to not be able to go and shout out and tell everyone, which is what you want to do, isn't it? You're obviously on a natural high. You're pleased, and then you've just got to shut it away.
You know what I mean? It's one of those, you can't get to sleep. You know what I mean? You want to tell people, but obviously you can't say anything. And then that wasn't even the end of it. I mean, it was good because we got to see each other afterwards. Because I mean, even though we had done our bit and we got through, we were still separated in our different rooms.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I went and saw like Dino or somebody, or Ross or Dapes or whoever. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, I'll go over there and let me talk about the fight. It was just, you know, we was by ourselves. So it was kind of nice when we like got to Vegas, that we could all meet up, like, you know, we got on the plane, got to Vegas, we could all like have a bit of a chat and everything like that.
Yeah.
But even when we got to Vegas, we were in the hotel for about a good week or so before we even got into the house.
It was really long.
So we were just kind of, so for the most part, my day was, I'd get up in the morning, do some exercise in my bedroom in Vegas, in the hotel. I'd get my breakfast brought up, then I'd go down to the gym, have a little train, and then for the most of the day, it was just a bit like a little prison kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd have my lunch in the afternoon, in the evening, we'd see if we were allowed to go out and do something. We weren't meant to, but once in a while they might say, "Oh, we take you downstairs and you can have a little cinema trip," but that was like a little one-off, stuff like that. So for the most part, we were just like in our hotel rooms doing nothing.
Did you know, before you went into the house, did you know any of the other cast members?
Yeah, I knew quite a few. I mean, I'd fought Jeff Lawson, so obviously we already been acquainted. Obviously my teammate, I'm a singer, was there. I trained with Nico Shipshot before. My teammate Ross Pearson was there. Obviously we trained together. States, I was meant to fight on my first pro fight. We would have been in the house together. So quite a lot of the team. It was only, I think James Wiltz I had even met before, actually. He came to train a couple of times over at Rough House, over at Bushido Academy. I think the only person that I'd never met was Dave Faulkner.
Yeah. Had you met?
That's the only person I'd never met before, but other than that, at some point all of our paths had crossed a little bit, so...
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was one of the reasons we were such a tight team and we had success that we had.
Yeah. Well, obviously Team UK won that season. You won the lightweights and the welterweights, and obviously the lightweights was an all-UK final. Did you know Michael Bisping before you went in?
Yeah, I'd met Mike a couple of times. I don't know how well he remembered me, but I'd met him a couple of times because I remember when I was with Paul Daly at FX3, and this is when Paul Daly fought Peter Angra. And he introduced me to Mike then, and he said, "Oh, Mike's a good fighter. Watch his fight later on." And obviously, Paulie won his fight against Angra, and then we sat back in the crowd and watched Mike's fight, and that was a good fight as well. So I met Mike. We all went out, myself, Paul, Mike, his his partner, and who else? I think that was it. And yeah, we all just went out on the night out in Reading. And so that's how I'd met Mike before. But I don't know if you remember the night. It was a bit of a drunk night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd met him before anyway, and I think I'd seen him a couple of times over the night. So I didn't really like know him well, but obviously I'd really been acquainted with him.
Oh, the other thing I was going to ask you as well, I mean, you talked about your training partner or your teammate, Ross, who obviously you faced in the finale. Was it hard facing a teammate in the finale?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously it's not ideal, but it's something that we already knew going into the Ultimate Fighting. It was something that could potentially happen. So, you know, I think we were kind of like prepared for it, but at the same time, it's not an ideal situation. So, yeah, it was a little bit strange, but at the same time, you know, I mean, we knew that it could happen. So, you know, I mean, you couldn't really complain. And like we said to each other, it was a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. So, you know, I mean, I think we were not happy to take it, but you know, I mean, it's not like every day that kind of opportunity comes knocking at your door. So, you know, we just went out there and it was just like a hard sparring session, basically.
Also, looking at obviously UFC, after the Ross Pearson fight, you fought 5 more times and you went 2 and 3. How do you look back at your UFC experiences? Do you look back and are you glad that you've been through it? And even though obviously the record was 2 and 3, you're glad that you experienced the UFC and got to go and do it on the big stage.
Yeah, obviously, I was happy to go there to do it. Hopefully, I'll go back there one day anyway. I just there's some things I would change if I could. You know, I mean, if I was in a time machine and I went back, there's a few things that I would change. Because I honestly mean this when I say this. I've never lost a fight to somebody that I could not beat. So, and that's not even like me being like thinking I'm better than what I am or anything like that. I've never lost a fight that I couldn't have won at the time. So, you know, I mean, those 3 fights that I did lose in the UFC, I'm pretty sure that I could have won them if my mind state was in the right place.
Yeah.
The only one that I'd say out of all those losses, which is I can't really complain, that was the Dennis Silva loss, because got me on a good shot as I was coming forward. My own fault in I got a little bit too relaxed, thinking that you know what, he doesn't really hit that hard. I felt like I had the beating of him, and I came forward throwing a silly combination that, you know, it's a kind of close combination that you'd throw, and I threw from way too far out, easy to see coming, and I ran onto a punch together, so I didn't even see the punch, it was like right in my face. So it was like walking onto it like an invisible pole, and the punch itself wasn't like a massive punch, but you know, I mean, he did the job, he put me down, and you know, I mean, no credit to him, he took the opportunity and submitted me. So, you know, I mean, he did well, but again, I do honestly feel that I could beat him if we rematched, or even back then, if I'd not got as complacent as I did, then I think the fight was kind of going my way anyway at the time. So, you know, I don't really believe that I've lost a fight that I couldn't have won.
Moving forward as well, obviously now you've had 3 fights with BAMMA, and of course your last fight was with Rob C4 Sinclair, who of course is the BAMMA lightweight champion, and you and Rob went 5 rounds in a very, very close fight. It was a split decision. Rob even said after the fight in his interview that for him a split decision's like a draw, you know. So yeah. I mean, how did you feel about that fight, and what happens? Obviously you haven't fought since then. What happens with you next?
Say that last bit again. What happens?
Yeah, what are your plans next? Have you got any other fights lined up?
Oh, okay then. No, I just want to be as active as possible. I mean, before the Rob Sinclair fight, I fought David Gonzalez, and I wanted to fight as soon as possible. They told me I was going to fight in February, then they told me it was March, then they told me it was April. I basically went every month up until September. And that's not even any sort of exaggeration. Every month I was being told, oh, it's next month, it's next month, oh, it's next month. So, like, I got very frustrated because all this time that I'd been spending, I could have used a lot better with my time. I'd still made improvements to my game, but, I mean, if you'd have told me I've got 9 months to train for this fight, I could have gone off and spent 5 months just doing wrestling and jiu-jitsu or something, you know, just improving my skills there.
Yeah.
Then come back, sharpen back up with my striking, and then get ready for the fight. There's so much things I could have done with my time, you know what I mean, if you'd have just told me, but, you know what I mean, it's like, you start, you know what I mean, because the fight was in December with Diego, and they said, oh, you're fighting in February, you had a couple of weeks off and started getting into camp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, because obviously when you start training in a camp, you do improve slightly, but it's more about sharpening your skills that you already have, it's not really widening your skills.
Yeah.
And so obviously, as a fighter, you need to keep widening your skills, because obviously I'm nowhere near a finished article or anything like that, so I need to keep improving on my skills. And you know, if they told me that you've got 9 months, I could have done so much more with my time. You know, I mean, obviously they didn't know that. Obviously they're trying to work with what they've got to work with as well. But for me, it was a very frustrating time, and it was strange as well because all year I've been wanting to fight. You know what I mean? I've been ready, I've been fit, I was sharp, I was making great improvements in my striking with my boxing, because I was working with my boxing coach Chris Pyatt, and he made great improvements with my hands. Even though like people already thought that I could box, when I started working with him, I definitely felt a big improvement. And most people don't know this, and it's not an excuse or anything like that, but I damaged the ligaments in my knee. I did my major ligament, my ACL, and I ripped the cartilage probably like 6 weeks before Sinclair fight.
Yeah.
So, like for 2 weeks, I basically did no training, and I told my manager to tell BAMMA that I wasn't going to fight. And it was like, okay then. And then after the 2 weeks, like a little improvement started happening. I said, oh, to my manager, hang on, no, give me to the end of the week and I'll let you know then, like, to see how it goes. And that kind of happened every week, and then it kept improving a little bit. And I don't know if it's me being big-headed or what, but I thought to myself, look, as long as I can wrestle a little bit to stop and take down, and I can box, I'm fighting, I'm going to go out there and win my fight, because, you know what I mean, I've had 9 months off. Not only do I want to fight because of financial reasons, but I want to go out there and I want to show how I've improved as a fighter. You know, I was eager to go out there and fight, and I really wanted to go out there and fight. And so, not taking anything away from Rob, you know what I mean? He's a good fighter, and he came out with a good game plan, he fought well and everything. And, you know what I mean? Hats off to him, he got the nod from the judges, but, you know what I mean? I didn't really have a great camp going into that fight, but it's not really the point anyway, because I took the fight. You know what I mean? I honestly thought that I was going to go out there and win the fight. I did think that I had done enough in the fight to win the fight, but I could see why the judges gave him the decision as well.
I mean, it's mad because obviously BAMMA put on some really, really good shows, and obviously have some great main events. But we spoke to Rob a few times, and he's just said exactly the same thing as what you said about the way with the fighting this month, then next month, and it's just so hard for you guys to get yourself not just physically prepared but mentally prepared as well. When you're being kind of messed around like that, I mean, it must be an absolute nightmare. You just don't know whether you're coming or going, do you?
Well, no, you know what I mean. At one stage, obviously, I'm contracted with BAMMA, but I even said like, look, I'll even take a pay cut in whatever you're giving me. Just get me a fight with somebody. You know what I mean? Because in like Martin, I'm saying, look, I need to fight. You know what I mean? I'm a kind of fighter that performs better when I'm kept active, and obviously big layoffs is not ideal for me. So you know what I mean? I really wanted to fight, go out there and do it, and you know what I mean? Like I said, myself and Rob were both being told, oh, it's next month. So it's hard to stay motivated and everything like that. I mean, I was motivated for the fight anyway, but it is tough when you know what I mean? You don't really know what's happening, because you get told one thing and then next week you get told another thing, and it's just like, look, I don't really know what to believe. What do I do? Do I go and try and get into camp, or do I go and do something different? Do I spend all my money that I've got that I have, and I just keep spending it on training, and then you're thinking that I'm going to be getting paid whenever to bring in stuff that I've just been spending, and then it's just a ball ache.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it just mashes your brain up because you don't know, like you say, you don't know if you're coming or going. So
yeah. Are you still contracted with BAMMA for more fights?
Yeah, I'm still contracted with BAMMA. I've got another 2 fights with them, and I'm looking forward to competing out there. I don't think I'll be on the March card, but hopefully soon, man.
Yeah.
I spoke to Jude, the promoter, and I'm like, Jude, come on, get me a fight. Well, this was a little while ago, but I want to get out there. I want to fight. So hopefully they get me a fight matched up. I know it's tough for them as well because they've got to get somebody who presents a good draw for the crowd, and and it's not easy because either the general kind of UK standard isn't quite there, and there's a few guys in the UK that would be good matchups, but they're either doing something else or it's hard to get that matchup, but you got to get somebody in from overseas. So it is tough. I would like to be a matchmaker. I can imagine it's a hard job.
Yeah, because you don't want to. Obviously, like you're saying, you don't want mismatches. Were you offered or approached anything with Kurt Warburton? Because obviously he should have been fighting Rob, and then that fight's been cancelled. I mean, that seemed like a perfect matchup, you and Kurt, because you're obviously 2 of the top lightweights in the UK.
No, I wasn't offered that. I saw it on the Twitter, and I saw that Rob had been injured. I wish him the best, and hope he gets a speedy recovery and everything, and he can go back out there and defend his title and everything. But I wasn't offered that because I saw it, and straight away I contacted my manager saying, "Look, what's going on with it?" You know what I mean? If there's a spare place to fight, I'll fight because I want to be busy. And I think that was already taken care of anyway before my manager even got to it.
That would have been the perfect. I mean, because obviously, if they want Kurt to headline the event, if he's not fighting Rob, the obviously with it being for the title, the best name out there is obviously you. So that would have just been the perfect fight, really. You versus Kurt, I think.
Well, I don't know. You know what I mean? That's up to BAMMA. You know what I mean? Again, Kurt's a guy that I really like. I get along well with him, and I think he's a very tough fighter. It would have been a tough challenge, and I look forward to it, man. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
He's the kind of competitor that I'd like to go against. You know what I mean? Somebody of a good caliber.
Well, we've been chatting for longer than what I'd said I was going to keep you for, so first of all, I apologise for that. I've just enjoyed chatting with you. But before I let you go...
No, that's not a problem, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've followed you for your career for such a long time. It's been nice to get you on and talk with you. But before I do let you go, I do want to ask you about Coventry, because I know you've been in Coventry, and I am from Coventry. So just because I'm being nosy, what have you been doing in Coventry?
Myself and Jim Warner, we teach at Lions Gym. It's over in Hillfields on East Street. We teach there every Thursdays between 7 and 8 in the Nogi session, and 8 to 9 is in the MMA class. I mean, they got some really good guys, up and coming guys. You know what I mean? I'm really looking forward to seeing them competing later on in the year. And you know what I mean? I'm just real happy to be over there. There's a great group of guys. They've looked after us well. I get along with everybody there well, and you know what I mean, if there's anybody out there that wants to get involved and come over and train with us, then make sure you do. Like I say, it's Lions Gym, and it's over there on East Street in Hillfields.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you probably can't get 2 better instructors than yourself and Judo Jimmy Wallhead, especially for experience. When you think of UFC and Bellator experience, you don't get 2 bigger promotions as that, obviously both from the States. So right, well, we will let you go, but before we do, just give you a chance to have a shout out. If you want to shout out any friends or family, and also shout out any sponsors and stuff like that as well.
Oh, you put me on the spot. I wasn't even thinking of any of this.
Sorry.
Now, it's all right. Well, I'd just like to thank you for having me, and you know what I mean. I can't even think off the top of my head. You put me on the spot.
Sorry, Andre. I can cut this bit out if you want, Andre.
Actually, I'd like to thank Vibram. You know the shoemake.
Yeah.
With the 5 fingers, Vibram 5 fingers. Yeah, man, they sent me out a pair of the wicked. I mean, I've been using them in my training sessions, and yeah, man, I remember when Dan got a pair of those as well. I looked at them, I thought they're a bit funky. I won't mind having a pair of them. And lo and behold, I'm sponsored by them now. And also, a shout out to Maxi Muscle, Mark Morgan over there, man. He's always looked after me, and they're a great group of guys.
Well, thank you very much for coming on today, and I look forward to seeing when your next fight is and seeing you get back to winning ways. Yep,
I most definitely will be back to winning ways.
Cool.
Oh, well, one other thing, I want to shout out Owen King and Wayne Kirk over at Fourth Dimension in Long Eaton as well.
No problem. Thank you very much, Andre.
Alright, cheers. Oh, and Big Good Demo. Yeah, that's it. Alright, bye.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Bye.
Alright, cheers. Nice one, bro. Alright, bye.